Hello and welcome to Noni, YANGA's flagship talk show where we discuss all the hot topics. Today we talk about the taboos surrounding mental health as we take a look at the ways we can raise awareness of mental illness in the community, and we take a new look at a short film called Judith, a movie that tackles depression in the UK. Joining me today is Noni favourite and TV presenter and writer Lola Ogunbadejo, director of the new film Judith, Peace Osigbe, and actress in the movie Vera Tunes. Welcome to the show, guys. Really important topic we're talking about. Mental health is often regarded as a taboo subject in the West African community. Many black people are affected by mental health issues but can find it difficult to speak out due to cultural barriers or fear of discrimination. Is the black community reaching a mental health crisis, and how can we encourage people to speak about mental health? Peace, I said this off camera, but I'm so happy that you're here on Noni, and you know, you've decided to do this film, all self-funded. Tell us a little bit about Judith and why you did this movie. Yeah,
Judith is a story of a young girl that went through an episode of depression, and
so it's based on a true story?
Yeah, it's based on a true story, but it has a twist because I couldn't give the story exactly the way it happened. If not, I won't be able to put the message across to people. It happened to a very, very close friend. Not too close though, but a friend of mine. And at that point, I just couldn't understand why it happened. I couldn't figure it out.
So Judith was somebody who was depressed?
Yeah, Judith. I'm not going to give the full name because the family wants the identity covered. So yeah, it happened to the person bearing the name Judith. So I named the production after this same person we're talking about here.
Let's have a look at a trailer, because I think we've got that, and we'll talk about the details behind the film later.
All right.
She's associated with bad luck. It's not my fault.
You are the answers to your own questions, Judith.
So it seemed as if, you know, Judith is a film where we're taking a look at the mind of somebody who's going through very severe depression. Vera, we saw you in that last shot there. Tell me about how you got involved in the film and what it was like filming, you know, quite dark scenes.
Well, Peace approached me about the movie. He had a really brilliant idea, and the concept he had for it was not your typical filmmaking kind of idea. And being an artist myself, as a creative person, I thought, you know what, why not? I play the baddie in the movie. And I think the main thing for me was being able to be a part of something that we need to raise awareness for. Within our ethnic background, the ethnic minority, we don't talk about it.
Why? Why don't you think we talk about it?
Well, I can speak for myself, you know, being raised in a Christian home, it's all about pray about it. God will answer, you know, this and that. But I think if we spoke about the issues a bit more, if people actually speak about it, there will be more rise in depression.
Yeah, it wouldn't be seen as a taboo.
Yeah.
Lola, you know, we've spoken about so many issues on this show, and some of them can lead to mental health. But tell me, what is that fine line between having a bad day, having a really stressful day, feeling down about, you know, the way you look on TV, and actually going through something that's really serious?
I think people's attitudes towards mental health, especially within the Black community, are it's almost confusing to me, because when I was growing up, and when I was 15 years old, I remember there was a point in my life where I said to myself, right, I actually don't feel good about life. I'm waking up with anxiety. I'm waking up upset. I actually thought I was possessed because I was hearing a legion of like negative thoughts constantly. And I remember speaking to my school therapist about it, school counselor, and she was encouraging me to think positive thoughts, to actually say to myself that, you know what, I can do it, I'm a great person.
Rise above it.
Rise above it. 15 years after that, I can definitely say that what I went through then was depression, but I was encouraged by talking to someone that, you know, this is something that you can get over. I was never told that it's something that I can never get over. I was always encouraged that, you know what, one day you will eventually get over how you're feeling.
Gosh.
And so I think that at times people just assume that that depression is something that cannot be cured, and it's not terminal. It's something that can, once you seek the right help.
You literally just need to start talking to people about it, right? Peace, what's the reception been of this film? I know that Mind, the mental health charity, you know, have been in contact and you seem to be doing some sort of collaboration. But what about within your own peers and the African community and Judith's family?
Yeah, like you said, Mind, yeah, they were a very big part of the screening. The screening was held last Thursday at the Odeon Cinema, Greenwich. And yeah, they are also trying to see how they can collaborate with me more to ensure that they use this project, because they were very happy with what they saw, to take it abroad, to ensure that people get to learn something from this
on the continent.
Yeah, from this project. Yeah, my major focus was just to build the mind of people. We've all got depression within us. It takes something little to activate it, right? But why should we give in to the things that happens to us? I was telling Lola something off camera, and I was saying to her that, okay, you know, we in the UK say we're depressed, which I think has one of the highest numbers of depressed people in the world. So what do people from Syria, what should they say? What should the people dying in northern part of Nigeria say? What should people in Israel, Palestinians, what should they say?
Yes, it's all relative though, isn't it?
Yeah, so these people are going through these processes, a whole lot of things that should make them the worst depressed people on planet Earth. But we still have a few still standing tall.
Yes,
So what am I trying to say?
Yes.
It has to start from inside of you.
Of course, and I'm sure that's some of the issues that you know, Judith covers.
Yeah.
Vera, you know, you said that you played a baddie in the film. Of course, we all want to watch it, and I'm sure our viewers will be flocking to see it. But tell us a bit about that character and what that character can be like in the real world.
Okay, well, my character was Stella. I was a friend of Judith, and basically, when I was given the role, I thought, okay, wow, do you know what? I've been through something like this.
Was she a bully?
Should I say what it is?
Give us a little bit. Give us a Noni exclusive.
Okay, I play a friend, a bad friend, basically.
Yeah.
I betrayed her, basically. It's almost like I was part of the problem, basically. Saying one thing but doing the other, really. And that's what life is about, really.
Yes.
That's what we get every day. Again, we were saying off camera, you know, everything starts with your mind. You have to renew your mind, you know. You get voices, things talking to you, but you have the right and the power.
It's your own voice in your own head, isn't it?
To change that, to renew that, and to not even pay attention to that. But I think it all starts with talking. You know, I'm a mum, and I remember when I had my little one, I would say I had depression myself, because no one teaches you how to be a mum. You have to go through it yourself.
Depression,
exactly.
Yes, that's
you have to go.
thing.
That's another category of depression in itself that people may not talk about. They do highlight it, but they don't necessarily talk about it. And you know, no one teaches you how to be a mum. No one tells you you're going to wake up odd hours at night to feed. You know. I remember a time where I almost dropped the baby because I was trying to catch up on sleep. And I was like, I'm not depressed, I'm strong.
Yes.
But it takes talking to people to say,
course.
you know what, I had to say to my partner then, look, can you do the night? I'll do the day, because I need to catch and sleep. If I didn't say that, I would have been a superwoman, thinking, I'm a mom, it's my role, I have to do this.
Of course, it's such an important forum, isn't it? And you know, just even talking about it here, I know is really going to encourage viewers. And coming up, we ask what we need to do to break the barriers around talking about mental health. See you after the break. Welcome back to Noni. Now in the UK, the biggest killer of men under 45 is suicide. 1 in 4 people experience mental health problems every single year. And according to Charity Mind, black people are almost 3 times more likely to attempt suicide. So why do we find it so hard to talk, and how can we change that? Now, before the break, Lola, Vera was saying, she's talking about being a new mum. I know, I'm a mum of 3, and postnatal depression is a huge thing within the community, but there are so many other issues, aren't there? But why do you think we're not talking about it? You spoke about when you were a teenager. Did you speak to your parent, or was that no way?
I did speak to my parents, and they were very supportive, and they prayed for me. I grew up in a Christian household, and they prayed for me. And I think one of the reasons why people find it so difficult to talk about depression is the perception of it, that it is a, permit me to say, like a luxury illness, like a first world illness, in terms of middle class illness, and it's for weak people. People are weak. People are not mentally strong, and that's how they can just say, do you know what, I don't feel like doing this. I feel hopeless. And then some people would say to them, especially I think within the black race, we're supposed to be these really strong people who've been through so much as a race, that how can we allow our minds to just be controlled by these negative thoughts?
That's why it's a taboo, isn't it?
That's why it's a taboo, and the people are expecting you to not allow these things to control your mind. So I think a lot of people, especially within the African community, they will tell you, well, what have you got to be depressed about? You're living in, perhaps if you're living in a first world country, you're living in the UK.
Money grows on trees. You have light.
You have light. There's some people who have no access to healthcare or to, clean clothes, and you're here saying, I feel hopeless, when actually there's so many schemes, so many things, so many forms of help that can get you back to where you need to get to.
Of course, Peace, you're the only male on the panel, which is obvious.
I'm now.
But that statistic about 1 in 4 men in the UK, that's really high and scary. And obviously Judith is about a female. But, in the research, and I'm sure there was lots of research conducted, what's your experience with men and depression?
Men, out of their pride, innit? Yeah, they want to be the one to, like, okay, you know what, let me just keep to myself, yeah. Unfortunately, the statistics shows that men are drowning.
Yes.
And it's really, really sad.
It's really scary. Vera, when you were doing the film, did it open your eyes to how you should treat people and maybe not be so judgmental? Because, of course, some of the lines you would have been reading would have been really sad.
Yeah, most definitely. I had to take a minute back and say, wow, okay, how can you do this to somebody that you say you're calling a friend?
And can it be innocent things, not responding to a phone call? A couple of times we get so consumed in our own lives.
Exactly.
You can be like, I'll call you back, or I can't make it. But you don't realise that that's actually really affecting the person you're in.
Exactly. I think also within the UK where we are now, there's this thing where it's hard, everyone minds their own business.
Yes.
You come home, you go into your house, you mind your own business.
Don't speak to your neighbour.
Yeah, that's it, because of the way things are. But if you were in Africa, you walk down the street, good morning, good morning, good morning. There's that communal feeling, but we lack that here a little bit. And I think, a smile can just brighten someone's day. You don't know what someone's going through.
Especially a pretty smile like yours, Vera. But Lola, how do we raise awareness? It's checking in on your neighbour, maybe answering that message that you should have responded to. What other ways do you think that we can do to encourage our friends who may be a little bit down,
It's just about allowing them to understand they have nothing to be ashamed about. I think apparently I was reading something somewhere that about 300 million people are suffering from depression.
Wow.
In fact, depression is the 10th leading cause of early death, and it's the second leading cause of early death between the ages of 15 and 29. So there's a lot of people who are having these feelings and thoughts, and what they're struggling with is like communicating that and letting people know how they feel. So I think it's just about allowing people to feel comfortable, to talk about how they feel, to not make them feel like they're weak, because I think that's what the main issue is. They're just like, why can't you just get over it? Why you're in this country, what do you have to be upset about? What do you have to be sad about? And if you're having people talk like that to you, you're going to start thinking that you're crazy or you're mad, and it just gets deeper and deeper.
Now, historically in West Africa, mental illness has been pushed to the bottom of government priority. Some believe the way to heal mental health is through the power of prayer and herbal medicines alone. So is this adding to the stigma around discussing mental illness in our community? Vera, Lola, you've both discussed your Christian faith and your Christian background. I'm a Christian, many of your viewers are, but sometimes, you know, faith can avoid you seeking professional help. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, take for instance, you ask a Nigerian person or an African person, oh, how are you today? It is well. But you're like, no, it's not well, because you're dealing with something,
God,
really,
it's not funny,
but we can't sugarcoat everything with it is well, you know, and use spirituality to cover everything. You have to speak up.
Lola, why are we doing this?
Because, you know, in some cases, people say they don't want to feel the, you know, the devil's intention of getting them to turn crazy or turn mad. And I feel like some people just don't know who to confide in.
Yeah.
It really depends on who your circle is. Like for me, for example, I had to seek out, when I realized that, okay, there's something going on with my mind, I had to get the courage to actually talk about it. Because as much as I love talking to God and I commune with God, I needed some kind of sound understanding. Like I needed someone to comfort me and just explain to me, you know what, Lola, this is how you can get through. I actually did a few things. I invested in coaching because it got to a stage where I thought, you know what, if I don't
And that's a big thing, it's popular.
It's a big thing in life coaching and also business coaching. So I got people to kind of help me along my journey. And what I learned in that short period of time was astronomical. I didn't know that I could actually train my mind to think a certain way. But if I didn't speak out, if I didn't say anything to anyone, and these people, they're not family, they didn't know me, so to speak, but I actually sought them. I was like, okay, right, I'm feeling this way, I need some kind of help. So yes, as a person, just like what P says, you have to make that conscious decision to actually say, do you know what, I want my life to improve greatly.
Exactly, and those decisions have led to you helping so many other young men and ladies. There are so many people in the church depressed. As Vera said, how are you doing, Ma? How are you doing, sir? It is well, but they can't, you know, pay the mortgage.
Yeah, they are
or their
depressed.
son's, you know, in prison, or something is happening. The husband is cheating on them, but because they're encouraged to not speak negative and not say the wrong thing, they're then isolated, and then that leads to some sort of mental illness because you're trapped.
Up appearances, isn't it?
It is.
You know, you go to church with your best outfit. You know, you don't want anyone to know what's really going in your home, whereby really you're suffering. Really.
But, surely then, you know, throwing it back to you, Peace, there's a connection between that and the fact that in the UK, medical professionals are telling us that the black community are more likely to be a sufferer of mental illness, more likely to kill themselves. But then they're the highest churchgoers. So what's going on?
Well, the truth is, whether we like it or not, we need to speak to people. That's the only way to come out of this situation.
Have you taken your film into the church? Would you?
Well,
do you think they'd open the doors to it?
It's one of the things they're looking at, to speak to religious leaders and see how they can get these informations to the members of the public, you know, or of the church.
Yeah, so that's really important. And that's a call to action, actually. Any church ministers or anybody's listening who wants the movie, they should try and get in contact with us. There's something about your mind in church that people just don't want to talk about it. They just want to pretend it's not happening.
I think that actually churches are becoming more, in my personal opinion, more relaxed, more open to certain things. They know that we are evolving as a generation, that certain things are happening and they need to be discussed.
They can't shun it anymore.
They can't shun it anymore, exactly. And I think one of the fears about that is that people feel like if you go and talk to someone, a medical practitioner, they will just offer you antidepressants. And there's this whole fear and taboo around antidepressants, being that you're going to get hooked on them, you know, you're never going to get off them. So I think that's one major fear. People feel like in the church they have to just be perfect. And it's just...
Especially in the Pentecostal mega churches.
Exactly.
We've spoken about it here before.
Are in denial, especially when they go to church. You know, we come and we just say, like you said, it is well, I am fine, I'm doing well. We're speaking in faith. But really, you know, they need to actually just address the issue and just say, do you know what, I actually am feeling a bit downtrodden. I'm feeling a bit depressed, disheartened, and I need someone to pray for me. And we just need more people in the church that are showing love and who are aware of depression, because I think we need to be educated as well. There's a lot of people in the church who just still at this day and age don't know what depression is, don't know the impact that it's having on the generation that we are in
and
today.
they're probably the ones that are depressed. So it's a really nice message here. Let me finish with you then, Beryl. How can we you know, bridge the gap where, you know, you want to go to church or the mosque, or people who are not religious, you know, we're not kind of isolating them from this discussion. But, you know, you want to feel confident, you want to say the right things, but you still want to be able to reach out to someone and say, do you know what, actually things aren't great, you know. How do we bridge that gap?
I think, first of all, you need to acknowledge the problem within yourself. Once you acknowledge it and you can accept it, then you can seek the right places to get help from. Sometimes it's all about, you know, finding the right people within your circle.
Yeah.
You can't tell everybody, because we live in a society where everything is social media now. You say something, someone will sub it, you know. So it's about having the right circle around you. But first, like I said, acknowledge what the issue is.
Yes.
If you don't acknowledge it, you can't move forward, because it's all starting with your mind.
Yeah, I think
because that's the devil's playground. Like
Most times the issue is social media. I just
Yeah.
had to put that out there, because I have a lot of young women who come and say, oh, I want to be like this person, I want to be like that person, I'm depressed because I can't obtain
Get to
this. And
that.
I just want to say that if you are in a situation where social media is really getting to you, I've encouraged some girls that I've spoken to have a social media fast. Okay, just let it go. You're not going to die. We don't want you to die, because some people are having suicidal thoughts just looking on Instagram and Facebook. So I've always encouraged them that just take a social media fast. Anything that you know triggers you to feel a certain way, you have to get away from it.
Do you know what? We've got to wrap there, and I'm so sorry, because we could talk and talk and talk and talk. Thank you, Peace, you know, from behalf of everybody here, because I know lots of people will be encouraged and change their mind about the taboo if they go and watch Judith. If you have been affected by any of the topics discussed on the show, or if you wish to find out more, please visit Mind. All the details are on the screen right now. Well, that's it from me, Juliana Olayinka, and my fantastic guests, Lola Ogunbadejo, Peace Osigbe, and Vera Tunes. And guys, don't forget, Noni's now online, so wherever you are in the world, go to www.yangatv.com to check out every single episode. Join me next time for more Noni Chat. Goodbye.